My name's Maridy McDuff. I am married to Philip McDuff. We've been married 26 years in March, and we have 5 children, 4 biological, 1 adopted. We adopted Jura when he was 13, and I guess the rest of our children were 11, 9, 7, and 6. So we adopted him, and we've been at the Passage probably for 2 years. I think July. July was 2 years. So July of this year, I got a phone call from my sister in the middle of the night, and my dad had had a massive heart attack, widowmaker, they called it. They rushed him to the hospital. He was able to get 3 stents, and so the Lord gave us a lot of extra hours that we were not expecting. During that time, I was able to get on a flight and fly to Florida. My brother was able to come in. We were able to hang out with my dad. He was doing really, really well. The nurse said that we were going to move him down to the cardiac unit, and instead of SICU. I said goodbye to him. The last thing I gave him was a strawberry banana tropical smoothie that he wanted, and kissed him on the forehead and said goodbye. And then I was going to see him the next morning, and about 5 hours later, my sister texted me, said, Dad is coding. I was at her house and immediately called Philip. I don't know how I got to the hospital. He prayed me through it. It was one of those kind of things that I parked in the emergency, parking, and just ran upstairs, and they had revived him, and I had about an hour with him. We listened to praise music, we prayed, we were all together, and then he coded again, and that time I knew the Lord had already taken him home, but the doctors and nurses worked 45 minutes on him. So that's something that has been difficult for me. Unexpected. My dad and I had a tremendous relationship, and I'm finding that is rare. My tears are because I loved my dad and had a great relationship with him, not because I regret anything. My dad passed away on July 26th. Then the day before the funeral, Philip called me. He was here with all the kids. And Olivia, our diabetic daughter, she's actually type 1 diabetic, she was diagnosed with COVID. And so at that point, we had to make a decision that Philip, Reed, Olivia, and Sadie were not going to be able to come to the funeral. And having my husband not there, my kids not there, Taylor was able to come, and Yura and his fiance at the time, Jessica, was able to fly down. So that was something that was difficult that week. Then we got home after spending family and friends, and got home. 2 days later, I moved Taylor into Liberty University for his junior year, and then 3 days later, I moved Reed, who is a freshman, into Liberty University. And then I was planning for a wedding to take place 3 weeks later. So lots of ups and downs and grief, and throughout my life, I became a believer when I was 11 years old. My mentor at the time, I accepted Christ with her on the trampoline in her backyard. So I have never wavered in my faith as far as being angry at God or questioning who God is in my life. I've been protected from that for some reason. But when my dad died, I was not angry. I immediately went to the Lord for comfort. And I remember the song Mighty He Saves, and my dad wanted that sung at his funeral, and we were practicing that. And I remember in that moment worshiping the Lord and mourning my dad at the same time. And that was a very, I don't even know what kind of emotion that is. That's something that was not, that wasn't planned. That wasn't something that I knew I would be doing. But to be able to worship the Lord that I love dearly, and I love him more than I did my dad, that was the biggest thing. And I wasn't mad at him for taking him away, because, you know, God says that, you know, our days are numbered. So no matter if you're walking across the street, or if you have a, you know, disease, or you have a massive heart attack, our days are numbered, and there's nothing that we can do about that other than try and live the life that God has set out. And processing the grief has been hard, because I've never had to process grief like that. I have not lost a loved one. I lost my best friend to colon cancer 5 years ago. But I was able to say goodbye to her for 3 years. And that's a different process than having to say goodbye to my dad. But, you know, in this life, you know, John 16:33 says, you know, that in this life we'll have tribulation, but to go to him for the peace. And the Lord's really given me a peace. And I don't think until after the wedding a week ago, I took a week to just rest in that grief, because as a mom, we are constantly doing stuff. We're constantly trying to be present. And that's what Philip really wanted to encourage me to do, is be present and for all of these life events. And I was able to do so, which is only the Lord, because I could not do it on my own. Walking through so many bad things, or so many trials for different people, I think just a realization that the Lord covers it all. Like, there was a song that I played for my dad by Phil Wickham. It's called 1,000 Names, and I was not able to listen to that song for 6 weeks because it was on his bed when he coded, and I had to turn off the song. But last Monday, the Lord decided to play that song for me. I mean, like, Spotify was on shuffle, and he's like, today's the day. So I walked and cried, and just cried out to the Lord for 45 minutes. And I realized that, you know, he has 1,000 names because we have 1,000 things going on that we need him for. And why would I not rest in the person that covers all of it? And, you know, I keep having to remind myself of that, obviously. But, you know, friends and family and a husband that has led me well, and children that love me well, and realize that, you know, mom's gonna cry on weird times, and I am gonna be sad, but I can be happy in the joy of knowing that my dad is with the Lord, and he would not do anything to get back here. He wants to stay there.
Yeah.
So